Hey Patrick and Owen. Welcome to the philosophy show. Yay. Alright, so I'm Ethan. I'm going to be doing the philosophy of our group and the social stuff and all politics nowadays. And I'm going to start a mini-series now about basically philosophy on morals. I'm going to focus on morals because there's so many different branches of philosophy, it would be impossible for us to cover them all. So I'm just going to go through a few, and one of the popular ones is morals. So today we're going to start with one of the most infamous moral philosophers, at least philosophers, with infamous for his moral philosophies, Niccolo Machiavelli, who is an Italian guy who lived during the Renaissance era, for those of you who do not know, and is infamous because of his sort of the end justifies the means based philosophy. So Niccolo Machiavelli, he was born in 1469, which is sort of the perfect time to be born if you wanted to become like the Renaissance man, which he sort of was. He actually wrote a couple plays, as well as his famous books, Discourses on Livy and The Prince, both of which have varying themes, but he's most famous for his ones in The Prince about sort of the end justifies the means and that politicians don't have to answer to moral discrepancies. Now he said this because he was basing his ideas on a sort of moral experimentation, like empiricism. So he focused on the fact that politicians and people in their everyday lives did not obey certain moral beliefs that they actually held because they just didn't apply in everyday life. And so he used these findings to basically support his point that because morals aren't used, they aren't necessary, and therefore you don't have to answer to supposedly wronging them because nobody obeys them anyway. Which makes a lot of people angry because nobody wants to think that their moral beliefs are just invaluable because they aren't put into practice by others. But he was a realist. He was very clear in saying that people who believe that the ideal world is the one in which we live are completely insane. Because the world in which we live differs so greatly from the world in which we wish we lived and that we try to create in the fantasies of idealism. Now, I'm not saying I'm sort of backing him up because a lot of people dislike him, and I'm not saying I support him because Niccolo Machiavelli was sort of evil, but he was also sort of brilliant in his discussions of moral philosophy. So that's basically all I've got to say about Niccolo Machiavelli. I'm going to do that he's the beginning of our series, so you can sort of check him off your list. But so I'm going to do a short discussion of like our vlog things. Thank you, Patrick, for the very emotional video you uploaded Friday. I really can't say anything. I'm sort of saddened as well because I know it's hard for you YouTubers to comprehend, but we spent a lot of time at CTC, and it's a very intellectual, very understanding community, and we took part in it for all 6 years of its existence. For us, at least, it's still there, but it is sort of it was sort of a big part of our lives, and leaving that is a very big deal for us. But I didn't focus on that today because I know you guys don't want to hear that. So yeah, that's my video, and yeah, alright, bye, and see you, Owen and Patrick, when you upload your next videos. Best wishes.